right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to MLS Mondays. We've got an exciting topic today that we're bringing to you. I'm very, very excited. We do have a special guest on, Sam Saad. Sam is an attorney in town, title company, very big supporter of Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association, very big supporter of realtors in general.
Was our sponsor for last year's TechCon too.
Was our sponsor for last year's TechCon. And you know, when you talk about partnering with somebody in real estate business, as I did for 18 years, you want quality, and that's what Sam brings to the table in his title business. He brings quality, he brings communication, the things that make you guys look like rock stars. Sam's also spoken at our association several times on contracts. When the lawsuit settlement came out, he did a couple classes on that. So been a big supporter of ours. We're very appreciative of his time today. As you guys can imagine, he's a very busy individual. But speaking today, and our topic is about fraud listings, which is an ongoing I'm gonna call it epidemic that we're going through in Southwest Florida. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Sam. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Sure. Can I share my screen? Yeah. So fraudsters, fraudulent listings, fraudulent transactions, it is a massive, massive problem. And really, you as realtors, you are at the front lines of fraud prevention in the real estate industry. I'll probably say this a couple of times during this presentation, but realtors are the ones that get hacked. You know, I've got in my title company, in my law firm, all types of crazy secret fraud prevention techniques so that our emails are secure, our websites are secure, our domains are secure. We have procedures in place to prevent fraud, and all the title companies do this now. It's the real estate agents that typically are the ones that are hacked in the transaction. Occasionally, when you have a small lender, not a national lender, we've had that situation where the lender was hacked. But predominantly, it is the realtor who's getting hacked in a transaction. So I want to put that out there at the beginning and to say, everybody be very, very careful. Make sure that you are using strong passwords. Make sure that you are using two-factor authentication whenever you can. And then take caution to protect yourself from the hackers and the fraudsters. And we're going to talk about that in detail today. What can you do when you are taking a listing or talking to you have the buyer and you're talking to a potential seller? What are fraudsters doing? Well, when they're not hacking your email, they're impersonating property owners and illegally trying to sell real estate. They use fake social security numbers. Sometimes they find real social security numbers because other people, we're in Southwest Florida. A lot of elderly folks get taken advantage of and give up their personal non-public personal identifying information like social security numbers or driver's licenses, and then their property is getting stolen out from under them and sold by realtors. Things that you need to look out for. It runs the gambit, but pretty much vacant land is the target that they're looking for, where they don't have a mortgage and they don't have other issues that come with a single family home. They'll use email and text messages. They don't want to talk to you in person. They don't want to be on video calls, things like that. So we'll talk about all that. And the problem is, of course, that if a property is sold, the only indication really that a legitimate owner of property is going to have is when they stop getting their tax bill, which could be as much as a year later. So it's very hard to catch these individuals. Once the fraud has been perpetrated, they're gone, the money's gone, and nobody knows the difference until the real seller shows up and tries to figure out what happened to their property. one thing that I want to hype right at the beginning is all of the property appraisers in Florida now have alert systems, so you can at least find out when the documents are being recorded. So I would encourage you and encourage you to encourage your customers to sign up for the fraud monitoring alert systems at your respective counties. So go to LIPA, Lee County Property Appraisers website, and sign up for their fraud alert. If you type your name in, you put your email address in, and if anything comes up with that name, they'll send you an email immediately. Works great. Same thing in Collier County. And then let's talk about the red flags as to what you're looking for. Again, vacant, non-owner occupied, investment property, vacation property, or rental properties. No mortgages. They'll get on the clerk of court's website. They'll search the legals. They know how the grantor and grantee indexes work. They'll search the properties, find ones that are cash, no mortgage. This is a big problem, of course, in the lower income property, lower value properties in Lehigh and the Cape Coral area, where there's just a lot of vacant lots available with no mortgages. Look for where there's a different address. That's going to be pretty commonplace. Also, what I would say to do, look for a recent change of address of where the tax bill is sent. And you can do that by looking on the prior tax bills on the tax collector's website. That's a big one. If their tax bill location has changed recently, then that's an indication that a fraudster has changed the address. Look for properties that are sold for below market value. You think a property is worth X and it's being sold for less than that, and it's a vacant lot or non-owner occupied investment property or vacation or rental property, it quite possibly is a fraudster trying to make a quick buck. Sellers like quick transactions, but not necessarily. That should be a 3-week or a quick transaction, or they don't negotiate your commission or talk to you about the cost. They just want a quick transaction. That's another indication of fraudsters. Cash buyers is another one, because lenders have heightened requirements, and they're also looking at sellers now because lenders have been made aware of these fraudulent transactions. This is a big one. Claims to be out of state or out of the country and doesn't want to attend the signing or get on a remote online notary or video call. The biggest thing is to get these people on the phone, get them on video, and talk to them. If they've got an iPhone and you've got an iPhone, you can FaceTime. If you've got Google, you can use Duo or Zoom, or any number of apps now allow for video. WhatsApp allows for video, I believe. And you can get on there and get them in front of a camera and see who they are and take their picture in case there's a problem. They don't want checks. They want proceeds wired, usually to a U.S. bank account that they will then transfer the money out of very quickly. So wired proceeds. Big one is unable to verify their own identity by giving you a copy of a passport or a driver's license. If you do get a copy of a passport or driver's license, there's a very good chance that it's fraudulent. We've seen fake driver's licenses, fake passports. We've had all types of different identification scams where people have tried. We actually had a guy, we caught him because he misspelled the word license on his fake driver's license that he sent us. So sometimes you get lucky and they're simple like that. The more sophisticated, better prepared hackers are going to have really good looking documents. There are services we use like IntelliCheck and some others where we can go in and verify a Florida driver's license It's tougher with an out-of-state ID, but at least if they're claiming a Florida ID, we can verify that. One really big one, if they're using a remote online notary and they are unable to complete the multi-factor identification, KBA, knowledge-based authentication protocols, KBA protocols, that's a big deal that they're probably a fraudster. If they are unable to be reached by phone, again, and only want texts and emails, and they won't do the video call, huge indication of fraud. No legitimate person should be afraid of a video call. We video call all of our sellers whenever possible to make sure that we can at least talk to them. Okay. The biggest thing is independent verification of information. And your best friend is Google. Google everything. Their name, their phone number, their address, their email address. Every data point that you can get from your conversations with them should be Googled to ensure that it comes up legit, because they may be committing fraud in multiple jurisdictions across the country. And if you may stumble upon a website, there are a number of websites where fraud is reported, and you get data points put up on these fraud detection websites, and you can catch them that way. Another big thing is, again, with the addresses, mail the seller a note. Hey, listen, thank you for letting me list your property. Appreciate it. In the event that you did not actually have me list your property and this is a fraud, subject to fraud, go ahead and give me a call and let me know. Just want to verify. So send them a nice note at the address on the tax records. And again, go back in and check if the tax records have changed recently. Then send a note to the old address just to make sure. For us, we ask that you, as the realtor, have personal or verified knowledge of the seller's identity. If you don't, that's a huge red flag to me that the seller is hiding, and we will reach out to the seller and again try to collect as much information as possible about them, and then we will Google it and verify. Things that we do in our office, the biggest one here is we manage the notarization process. We have a list of notaries, a notary management service that we use, and we won't let sellers get their own notary, even if it's their lawyer that I can look up and say, hey, this is your attorney. We use a notary service, and it's required in our office for sellers to use our notaries, because we know that notary is going to check their ID, make sure that meet them in person, bring a witness, and follow our procedures. So that's a big deal. Sometimes we'll use a remote online notarization service like a Notary Cam or some of the other big services. And one of my staff will be on the call, usually as a witness, and we'll make sure that the notary process is done correctly, that they pass the knowledge-based authentication. We confirm all wire instructions. We control the disbursement, and we won't wire to a seller who doesn't match the deed out. So unless there's a very good reason not to, like it's a trust that's the seller, and the trust doesn't have its own bank account, but we've spoken and know the individual trustee or beneficiary. But in 99% of the cases, we will only wire to the name on the deed so that the fraudster can't divert the funds if they're not, if they've gone to a bank and gotten their an account in a different name. Asking for voided checks is a big deal. We'll ask for a voided check sometimes, or we'll call the bank and verify the instructions that were given. we will send a wire. What you're looking at, by the way, I should have said this at the beginning. What you're looking at is the American Land Title Association pamphlet on fraud. So they're suggesting that checks be used. There's so much check washing fraud now that we will prefer to send a wire, but we will again verify those wire instructions up and down to make sure that they are done correctly. And again, the verifying the seller's identity, we use KBA, credential analysis through third parties. We run the email and phone number through Google and make sure that we can at least see if they've been reported somewhere else. And we ask conversational questions. My staff will call the seller and talk to them. And if they're from Germany, but they have a weird accent that does not sound German, we'll question that, and we'll find out more information about them. For example, where are they from, what's their story, how they get a hold of the property, that sort of thing. And then, of course, the public record is huge. We look at signatures, we look at the price, and we ask the realtor if the price is low, why is it low? Occasionally, fraud will happen. When fraud happens, all you can do is report it. The FBI has got the IC3 website. Unfortunately, they don't even look at things less than $2-3 million in value because they're so busy they can't be bothered with the small stuff. And the fraudsters know this. So you're looking at small lot fraud, things like that. The feds aren't going to care, and the money's going to get wired, and that's it. And so we are very careful about that, having to protect ourselves because we know that the FBI just can't be bothered with the small lots. Local law enforcement, much better. The economic crimes units of the various local law enforcement agencies are very good about taking the reports and doing what they can. But if the fraudster is in China or North Korea or Russia or Africa or wherever they come from, very little that local law enforcement can do. And same with the state, with FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, very little that they can do if the fraudster is out of state. We do report notary violations to secretaries of state, but again, that's after the fact. And the fraudsters will lift notary stamps off of other documents so that they'll have recent valid notary stamps on their documents. So we've had the situation where we've caught the fraudster for other reasons, but we noticed on the document they had a legitimate New York notary, and they stole that off of a document they found online and used the name and stamp of a valid New York notary. And we couldn't, if we didn't have another way to catch them, we might not have caught that this person was signing in New York with a valid notary. So it's very difficult. Again, staying educated, paying attention, and putting what you can online to help fight this stuff is about all that you can do. And then make sure that your stuff is locked down, because these fraudsters, what they'll do is they'll hack into people's systems and they just sit there and monitor email. And then they'll do things like change the wire instructions at the last minute, which we know, of course, a major indication of fraud now, or request that a wire be sent when a check wasn't originally requested. That's a major indication of fraud now. So we're being very, very vigilant and working through all of the permutations and just Googling everything. I can't even emphasize that enough. And I'm taking a break now and ask for questions. What questions do you all have, and what have you seen in your in respective fields, in your areas? Can they respond?
Yeah, we've got the chat isn't, but the Q&A box is open if they've got questions and we can read those over to you.
Okay, I see no one's posted a Q&A, but,
Not yet.
all right, we'll give people a second if they want to type something.
And Doug, I see you've got your hand raised, but it's in webinar mode. It's not in meeting mode. So if you can just use that Q&A box to type out your question, then we can get that answered for you.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, there it is. I'm pretty good with Zoom, but
And I would just say too, to echo what you talked about, Sam, when I've seen these before, we get a lot of this stuff in the MLS. My previous life as a broker saw a lot of this as well. The price is it. When they call and say, or WhatsApp you, right? They use WhatsApp. When they
Yeah.
call, say, this is the price they want. It's some arbitrarily low, quick sale. It doesn't matter what sob
always a
story.
tell.
Yeah, what sob story they gave you, the mom's in the hospital, you got paid for surgery, whatever. I mean, it's just, especially out of the blue. I know from selling real estate for 18 years, it's, I worked very hard to get customers and leads and those types of things. For somebody to call you out of the blue and say, I want this lot, this waterfront lot. Now, it's valued at 150, but I want to dump it for 75. It just,
totally fraud. Yeah.
yeah, just a tell on that.
That's absolutely an indication of fraud. You know, if they're really trying to sell a property, they want maximum value.
Correct. Correct.
I don't see any questions coming in.
Nope. Yeah, Doug wants to raise a question, the Q&A. Nope, there it is. We got it.
All right, this one's from Mick. If a fraud event successfully transacts, what recourse does real property owner have to get their property back, or what do they need to do? And what is the first thing that they need to do?
They need to contact an attorney and law enforcement immediately. If it's a bona fide purchaser for value, it's going to be tough. Hopefully they've got insurance and the insurance company can come in and be involved. Frankly, it's very hard to get the property back.
Wow.
If the bona fide purchaser for value comes in, the law says that the seller is in the best position to prevent the fraud. So you would have a very hard time getting it back from a bona fide purchaser for value. So Doug's question is posted. If you are still receiving tax information throughout the year, then I assume you are good. First of all, Doug, whenever I see the word assume, I freak out and I flip out. I have a cousin who's a very successful PI attorney in Texas, and he says that the assumption is the mother of all screw ups. So you should never assume that just because you're getting information that there's not fraudsters trying to steal your property. If you get the tax bill, that's great. But if the fraudster is trying to sell your property, it could take them, they may not change the tax bill address. They may just go to the unsuspecting realtor and get it listed during the year. And then if they get it sold before the taxes are paid, you would never even know it. So be very, very careful. Don't assume that just because they haven't changed the tax bill information that you are not going to be subject to fraud.
Right, and I think the tool that the county has that you recommended to them earlier, sign up for alerts, so you get alerted for that. But I also
I can actually show you all how to do that. If I guess we have time, let me just do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we've got a tool to show them as well, but you've got time to show them that site.
Let me just go to, I'm going to use Collier because they're all very similar. Oops. Go to the clerk of courts. Let me share my screen. Okay. So you go to the clerk of courts website. Let me just find the, where do we go here? Risk alert enrollment. See if you can see my mouse.
Yeah, we can see you moving.
Okay, good. Risk alert enrollment, you type in your email. You confirm you are not a robot. Then they're going to send me a confirmation email to my email address, which they have. So just give me one moment. I'll be right back in it. Okay. Oops. All right, so now that's been set. Once that's set up, okay, so they just send you a confirmation email. I just registered it, and now I will. That's all you have to do. Now I will get an alert. There was a way. I got to find it. This they should be sending me an email now whenever anything comes up with my name on it. So that's all you got to do.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Lee County is very similar. They should all be similar because it's by state statute.
yeah, I think they use the same interface for that piece as well in LIPA. And
Well, it's
then
not LIPA. That's the property appraiser. I said LIPA earlier. That was a mistake. It's the Lee County Clerk of Courts.
right.
So again, we've got the time. Let me just go pull up.
And while you pull that up, Jason and I were just talking as well. You can use there's a tool inside Google. You just go to Google Alerts.
Yep.
You
Google
set
Alerts are
yourself up on
fantastic.
Google Alerts and put your address in there, and you'll get an alert anytime your address is used on the internet. So you would probably still regularly get notifications because, for example, like Zillow and things like that, the addresses are still out there for comparables. But if
Right.
new activity on that address, you'll be able to keep an eye on it. And that would be, before any type of record gets published to the property appraiser. So if somebody goes out, they use your property, they list with another realtor, it starts getting posted to realtor.com, Zillow, all over the interwebs, you would be able to see that as soon as it hits the internet.
That's right. And here it is for registering for the fraud alert. Here it is. So select type of name you like to monitor, personal, Sam, Sod, confirm first name, email address. Okay, they want me to add a parcel number. So I'm not going to finish this, but you would enter the parcel number for the property that you want to use, and then you get a confirmation email. Oops. Okay, and now they'll send me an email to complete the process. So there you go. That's how you do it. And then Google alerts are fantastic. I have tons of Google alerts.
And
Just,
you've got some questions in here as well,
oh, okay. Um,
but you can go through the Google
you can see
alerts.
I've got Google alerts set up for all types of stuff, but you just go in there, create an alert, and it's great. I actually have old stuff from when I was on city council. I gotta go clean that out of there. That's funny. And then let me just unshare my screen. What question? A good title company is key to helping the agent vet the parties, establish relationships, and they'll most likely spend a little bit of time verifying your suspicions, provided you've also done your own research you can share with them. Rachel's exactly right. The best title companies will do what I was saying, like we do in our office. They will Google everything, they will verify, and they will use KBA and IntelliCheck and those services. We get that stuff for free from our underwriter. So it costs me nothing, and I'm happy to help you do it. And I think most title companies are very similar to that. Let's see here. So Eva, you just because you're the fraudster puts their information in, you can put your information in as well. Eva's question was, what do you do if the fraudster beats you to the punch and enters a fraud alert? Well, you can also enter a fraud alert on the same property. That's not specific to an individual or a property. So you're able to also get the same alerts that the fraudster would have gotten if they signed up for an alert. Okay, other questions?
I think you've got them covered.
All right, good. So you said you had a tool, you want to show them Google Alerts. What else did you have?
Absolutely. So, and I'm not sure if you, I'm sure you have, Sam, but you talked a little bit about, you're concerned when the realtor hasn't done any research themselves or vetted the person. And a lot of times, especially for our area, we're dealing with out of area sellers. And what you get for being a member with us is you get access to the Forewarn app. Have you used that a lot, Sam?
I have not used Forewarn. I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with Forewarn. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to show you guys really quick, and I'm going to share my screen. The Forewarn app is very, very simple to use. So you install it on your phone. It's spelled right there, Forewarn. And you'll gain access. I'll show you where you get that on the Florida Realtor site to make sure you get your free profile. Otherwise, this is a monthly subscription platform that you can gain access to. So somebody calls you out of the blue. They say, hey, I want to sell my $1 million home for $500,000. And you get, that red flag. Really, at the end of the day, I feel like if you've never met a consumer or customer before, you should be using this app for safety reasons as well as the fraud. Right here is where you're going to go ahead and plug in that number and click search. For whatever reason, if you don't have a phone number and you needed to search somebody another way, you can do that right here using first name, last name, date of birth, city, state, zip. It is a lot more accurate and easy to use when you use the phone number version of this search. So once you type that number in, what it's going to do is pull up their record, and it gives you access to a lot of this data. So you will go through when you sign up for a profile and you get access to this. There is a lot of disclaimers and a lot of agreements that you've got to sign to get in here, because you're not supposed to use it to search just anybody, your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, or anything like that. There is a sense of responsibility with this. But what you get access to is how many phone records they have, their address history. Again, a reason that they brought this on, where did we get this, like maybe the beginning of the year?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was mainly for safety here. So you could see criminal records. You can see court records, property records, and vehicle records. So this will help you identify who it is that you're really dealing with, and you can have conversations with them specifically about, what previous addresses that they might have had. Maybe you go by, you see what vehicles are registered to it, but this is going to really help you identify who it is that you're talking to and make sure that it really is the person that says that they are.
Right, and I think that the property record search is important, because if it doesn't show up under their name, they're probably not the owner of that property. So they call you to list a vacant lot. And if you pull up the 6, property records here for John Doe, if one of those properties aren't there, I would question it.
Right.
If it is there, it means they do have ownership. It's kind of a clean deal there. Because they're pulling this from multiple different platforms into here. So it's a good safety tool before you go out and meet somebody that you have never met before out in the general public. That was the purpose behind why they created the software, but there's a lot of information here too, as far as even phone numbers, getting phone numbers. They might have multiple phone numbers under their name. They might have several phone numbers in their, every iPad you have that has 5G on it is registered to you as a phone number. So they may have several different phone numbers that they have access to.
Right. Well, we know nowadays a lot of times the fraudsters can mirror that number. Maybe they know what the seller's number is supposed to be, and they are using that number. It will pull up correctly, but having casual conversations with those sellers about, where have you lived previously? What are you from? You just build it into that part of your conversation, and you can fact check them here through the app as well. And this is
fantastic. I'm gonna have to get this going.
It is very impressive.
Yeah,
it's scary what's on the internet, by the way.
It is.
The data available you don't even know about that's not on the public web is intense.
Yeah. So, for the members that are looking to sign up for that, let me share this part with you guys. There's Google Alerts. So to sign up for your free membership, all you're going to do is go to Florida Realtors site. It is one of their banners on there, but you're going to go to tools and research, Forewarn Safety app, and it's going to pop open this little training seminar about it. But this big red button right here, click here to activate your Forewarn subscription. If you haven't signed up for it yet, this is the only way to do it, is right here through this link.
Yeah, and it's a $330 value per
Expensive.
year. Yeah, it's $30 a month normally. This is absolutely free for you as a dues paying member. So yeah, I would use another thing I would tell you, Google Alerts. I put my sales hat on, 18 years selling real estate in Lee County. I did a Google alert on every single address that I sold
Mhm.
and every single address that I listed. So once a property closed, I did a Google alert. Why? Because I kept up with my clients. I wanted to make sure I was in front of them at least 5 times a year, so I would get the repeat referral business, but I want to know if something happened to their property as well.
But it works when you currently have it listed. We had an agent that did that. They had it listed for rent. Somebody stole all their photos, listed it for sale on Craigslist,
Yep.
which we see a lot of. And that's what they got, the Craigslist alert through Google, and they were
Absolutely.
able to shut it down.
Well, I was able to see at a client of mine that had fire at their house. I would have never known that, except it came on Google alerts from the news.
They hit the news.
Hit the news, so that came up. So I think it's just good practice. I know it's you get these alerts you only get the email when there's actually something on that alert, right? So a specific address would be one of those things, and then you would know if somebody was listing a property fraudulently that you had sold, because you naturally, if you found out that Susie Q listed it, and you get the alerts on Realtor.com, you're going to look at the listing and say, why did they call me on this? You may realize it's bogus, it's fraud, and be that level. So that's one thing I did in my sales life to keep in contact and relevant with that. So
Yeah, that forewarn is fantastic. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, and Sam, you work every day with Florida Realtors, so you can educate them. They've got access to it. It's
Now, is
free.
that through Florida? That's through Florida Realtors?
Correct.
yes.
Okay, well, I have access because I'm a broker there, so I can sign up for
Remember.
that. Okay.
Then you'd get it for free.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
Great. I haven't seen other questions posted to the Q&A. Does anyone else have questions? I assume from our participants. Looks like Doug's hand is still up.
Yeah, I think that's just still raised. I think otherwise, I think we're set.
Oh, very good.
Yep, and I think we get the calls all the time. Somebody said, "Hey, listen, my property's listed." There's really 2 types of those calls we get. One is somebody that had a listing, extended the listing, maybe the seller didn't know about it, or the spouse only signed for it, whatever. Typically, it's a violation of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Listing a property with a valid listing agreement. But the other one is it's fraud, and we get those calls. So be aware of it. You are the first line of defense for this, and there are tools out there you can use to help curb that. One quick story: I had an agent in my office that went out to look at a property. It was on the Caloosahatchee River, right off McGregor, beautiful waterfront vacant lot that she got a call to list. It wasn't grossly underpriced. They gave her kind of a range and said, go look at it and tell me what you think. So she asked what I thought. I said, go look at it. So they went out and looked at it, and she called me, and they were building a house on it. And it turned out to be a surgeon's house in Chicago. And he was not happy because we had to get a hold of him and say, listen, and the builder was on site, the foreman and the owner were both on site. I knew both of them. And they called the doctor right away and said, somebody's calling around, because we were able to stop that from going on. Obviously, there's a house there, but how many agents would just list it, right?
Go through so much effort.
So much, market, and you show up, put a sign on this house being built. Had there not been that house, it would have got to somebody would have listed it, somebody would have gotten an offer on it. And that surgeon would have been out of it. He was not happy. So that type of fraud's going on, but we are the first line of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really are, and that can't be emphasized enough. I'm really liking this forewarn thing.
And using those tools are going to help. I think, you even more so than the consumer or the customer, right? Like it gets to title, and a lot of times that's where it gets stopped, is because title companies like Sam's, they've got all of these things in place, but all of your time, all of your marketing dollars, there's, you can only protect yourself from wasting that.
Right.
And
Rachel
identifying
has posted.
forewarn and things like that right up front is what's going to help protect your time, your money, your headache. Because let me tell you what, aside from your time and your money, when somebody finds out that you listed their house, the screaming phone calls you get,
Well,
it'll ruin your month.
right. I mean, we had a situation when I first came on last year. They had them and their entire family are at 1-star Google reviews on this agent and took the property that listed it. It was 3 acres of parcel, so it was a higher end listing. So they took drone photos. They spent $600 in photography with drone and everything else, and it was a bogus listing. So the person was not only upside down $600, all their time putting the listing in and doing all that. We all just want to work for free. It cost them $600, and they end up with like 11 1-star Google reviews.
Yeah,
on this agent,
they will blow you up.
From the person who actually owned the land, and she had a legitimate thing in email and text, and she was posting this stuff. And that agent's like, "I'm never gonna be able to do business again."
They will ruin. Yeah,
I'm ruined.
So, all right, we've got a few questions in here.
Can I give one war story as well to tell you how bold these fraudsters are? We actually had a fraudster go into the embassy with a fake passport in Munich, into the U.S. consulate with a fake passport, and sign their papers and walk out. We caught the fake passport later and stopped it. But I mean, that's pretty bold. You got to go through security to get into a U.S. consulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got chutzpah, as they say. Well, you got to be careful.
Yeah, and anybody that's really, think about the people that are at the top of their game in their industry. Some of these fraudsters are at the top of their game in the industry, and they are very, 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 very good.
And they know the property record systems. Yeah. They understand the rules. They have practiced. They have mules in the United States to get their money out quickly. I mean, these are sophisticated foreign operations, a lot of these. And the fraud, last time I saw the statistics from the FBI, we're talking about, they call them about $6 billion a year. That's a lot of money to be stealing property with.
Oh, absolutely. And again, the top of their game. And as I said, a lot of these agents, like, who would be dumb enough to, do that? We catch them all. I say, you don't catch them all. You catch the rookies, you catch the amateurs. Right. You're not catching the pros. Right. Unless you're using tools like this, using a reputable title company and that type of stuff. The pros are good.
Right. Someone's asked about the forewarn app, Mick and Ray.
Let me share my screen again. So this is what we just went through. The only way to register your free account and get your profile up is through here on Florida Realtors. So you can either copy this URL, or you just go to floridarealtors.org, go to their tools section, just hover over that Forewarn Safety app. You click that right here. Your registration link is right here in red. Click here to activate your Forewarn subscription.
I'm gonna do that.
So when you do that, Florida Realtors will send you like a confirmation with your account information.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions? I don't see any.
I don't think so. I think it's just about this. And if you guys have any issues with this as well, feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you find this website if you get lost.
All right. Well, I guess are we done then? Is that it?
All right, Sam. Thank you so much for your time today. We truly, truly appreciate it, and we're glad to have professionals like you that help us with this, battling this. But again, we are the first line of attack on prevention. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Have a safe week.
Excellent. All right. I'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks.